Georges Remy was just 21 when he created Tintin under the pen name Hergé. Now, I think it amazing that Hergé was entirely self-taught as an artist. What's even more remarkable is that the inventor of the globe-trotting Tintin had only ever left Belgium on brief camping trips with the Boy Scouts. Though Hergé's adventures are set in the most exotic locations, I can now see that Tintin is inextricably Belgian. The first book reveals that he was clearly a product of Belgium in the 1920s. The Russian Revolution had taken place 12 years before the first page of Tintin came into being. Belgium lived in the shadow of the new and vast Soviet Empire. Stories abounded of Soviet oppression, and fear of communism was endemic. Tintin was actually commissioned by Hergé's boss, Abbé Norbert Wallet. Wallet was not only a newspaper editor, he was also a Catholic priest and a fascist, having a signed portrait of Mussolini on his office wall. Wallet sent Hergé a brief to create a cartoon character to expose Russia as the evil empire to the children of Belgium. To help him with his research, he gave Hergé a piece of anti-Bolshevik propaganda.
This was a key influence, the book called Moscow sans voile, Moscow Unveiled, by a former Belgian consul who lived in the USSR called Joseph Douillet. And this guy was passionately anti-communist, passionately anti-Russian. He loathed everything, from caviar to commissars. And he goes to a rigged village election in which he describes verbatim how the villagers are being presented with 3 lists of candidates, and one of them is communist, and everybody who opposes that, raise your hands, and according to him, they had revolvers pointed at them. Well, that is exactly the scene that we see here in Hergé's book, Tintin in the Land of the Soviets. Even the words match. 3 listes sont en présence, l'une est celle du Parti communiste. 3 lists are in front of you, one is that of the Communist Party. And that's exactly what we see here.
When it came to images, Hergé was no less fastidious in his approach to detail. In later works, we know that he based his drawings closely on photographs of real locations. But as Hergé never actually visited Russia and precious few photographs existed, it's always been assumed that the first book was entirely drawn from his imagination, until recently. The French photojournalist Robert Sexay was amongst the first to bring Russia to the West, with a series of reports and photographs documenting the real Russia. Sexay traveled the length of Russia on his motorbike, and his pictures caused a sensation. I've come to meet Belgian writer Jean-Paul Schultz, who's been researching the links between Sexay and Hergé.
Si Hergé, il a eu l'imagination pour tous les caractères, toutes les histoires, qu'est-ce que Sexay lui a donné?
Sexay lui a donné la réalité de ses photographies, en fin de compte. Hergé avait une vision réelle grâce à... Il avait l'œil de Robert Sexay, en fin de compte, pour ses albums au pays des Soviets. Il lui fallait bien quelqu'un qui voit pour lui. Donc Robert Sexay a photographié, il a vu pour Hergé. Donc Robert Sexay est certainement l'inspirateur de Tintin. Tintin n'a jamais eu d'appareil photo. Le seul qu'a photographié, en fin de compte, c'est Sexay. Donc l'inspirateur de l'album, ça peut être que des documents photographiques qui ont été prises dans des revues d'époque où Robert Sexay publiait. Il mettait ses photos en agence photographique, donc Hergé avait accès en tant qu'il débutait en journaliste avant d'être dessinateur. Donc il a croisé en fin de compte tous les documents pour créer en fin de compte sa documentation, puisqu'il n'en avait pas. Il fallait bien qu'il en trouve une.
Tu peux expliquer enfin la connexion entre les 2 images ici?
Donc Tintin, qui était sportif et jeune reporter, a utilisé dans quelques albums la moto, principalement dans les premiers albums, au pays des Soviets. La moto qu'il utilise, on se rend compte qu'elle ressemble totalement à une des motos de Robert Sexay, une Gilet Herstal belge.
C'est incroyable, enfin, la ressemblance, la similarité entre les deux.
Absolument, la ressemblance est totalement flagrante. Il n'y a, a pas de souci là-dessus.
J'aime bien ça, ouais.
Tintin's first adventure appeared in 1929, just 4 years after Robert Sexay's own well-publicized motorbike journey across Russia. In the 20s, Belgian papers were widely reporting Sexay's journeys around the world. After Russia, he traveled to the Congo and America, and I can't help noticing that those are the precise locations Hergé chooses for the first 3 Tintin books. There are many theories about who Hergé based Tintin on, but clearly there is a case at least that it was Robert Sexay. Hergé's work is almost everywhere in Brussels. Images now famous the world over. To have one character that resonated was one thing, but to build a whole cast was something else again. Beyond Tintin and Snowy, Hergé produced a world of colourful